Oh, I've been just talking. Let me back up. I got to back up all the way. Thank you, Lady Drina. What did I say? I said the unfinished story, why America should demand the truth about the Epstein files. This is a promise unfulfilled. The Epstein list that was never, ever existed, right? We're going to call this that never was. This is the list that never was. That's what we're going to call it. Like and share. We're going to call this the list that never was. In the years following the Jeffrey Epstein's shocking arrest, and it was a shock to those of us who were outside of the circle, I'm sure that the people that were in the circle were just as shocked and as surprised because what? Because Jeffrey, their friend, was arrested after years of doing what he had been doing. A billionaire. The Epstein list that never was. Following his arrest and subsequent death, we got to talk about his death. There was one message that echoed loudly from conservative circles. The loudest voice in the conservative circles was what? A secret list existed. It was a roster of powerful figures allegedly complicit in Epstein's network of sexual abuse. Now, that's what it said. S.A., sexual abuse. There was a list of people, powerful people, who are complicit. During Donald Trump's presidency, the first presidency, there were a lot of prominent voices inside and around the Trump administration that fueled these hopes. And one of those voices was this lady that you see right here. This is Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, everybody. Those of us in Florida, we already knew who she was because you would see her face you would see her face around in different places. You would see her face. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi also received funds from Jeff Epstein. You can check that out. It's not a lie. It is the truth. She received money from Jeff Epstein. He contributed $25,000 to her campaign. And during Trump's presidency, when she was his impeachment attorney, one of the voices was, oh, we are going to explode. We are going to give you all of the information about this list, this forthcoming list. And then again, to add to it was this brown Negro here, this dark-skinned Negro here, this dark-skinned Negro Indian, Kash Patel. Oh, there's a list. He was on Joe Rogan screaming at the Republicans who were the majority. He says, why won't you release the files? You are the majority. Trump was president and the Republicans were the majority. But Jeffrey Epstein's files were never released. He sat in prison, but they never released the files. And he was one of the ones, because he knew that he was going to be vying for the position of director of the FBI. And he said that the files were sitting on the FBI, the director of the FBI's desk. And the last time I checked Google, he is now the director of the FBI. Is he not? Just do a simple Google search. He is the director of the FBI. And he reportedly and repeatedly said that there is a list of names that we need to see. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are just as complicit, but they are not the loudest voice that was speaking. This is the list that never was, ladies and gentlemen, and America needs to know the truth. I don't care if you are a Republican. I don't care if you are a Democrat. I don't care if you are an independent. I don't care if you are a goose floating on a pond. America needs to know. And Kash Patel, who also at that time held senior roles under Trump at the National Security Council and at the Department of Defense, similarly hinted, just like Pam Bondi, that unseen documents might reveal high-profile names tied to Epstein's alleged crimes. Elon Musk said Donald Trump's name was on that list. And what this narrative that they gave throughout this whole time, this narrative gave millions of Americans, particularly those who are loyal to Trump, a sense that ultimate justice was imminent. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. He's going to drain the swamp. He's going to drain the swamp. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you two of the new alligators. This is an alligator in the swamp. Here's another one. These are alligators in the swamp. These are the swamp alligators that were supposed to be drained. Now, the head honcho of is not an alligator. He's a crocodile. That would be Trump himself. He's the crocodile in the swamp. Yes, he's the crocodile. And nothing is coming out. Nothing is coming forward. No truth, no nothing. Only cover up. Only cover up. While all these people were waiting to see this list, this ultimate justice. And today, on July the 11th, there is no list. And the Justice Department confirmed no client list exists as a single document. No evidence supports widespread blackmail ring beyond Epstein and Maxwell's operations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there you have to read between the lines. They say no client list exists. Not that there isn't a list. They are using specific wording to throw people off. No client list exists. That's what it keeps saying, no client list. But there is a list. The government claims releasing remaining sealed records could further traumatize victims. I thought this should have been about the victims all along. Are they being compensated and asked to sign NDAs? It says that if they release the remaining sealed records, right, this is their excuse, it could further traumatize the victims or reveal private details irrelevant to criminal prosecution. That, to me, this explanation is hollow. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, from believers to skeptics, both Pam Bondi, Kash Patel once stood at the forefront of the Epstein Files crusade. They were the ones that stood out there waving their hands. You remember when Pam Bondi released all that big binders that was supposed to be full of information that she released to TikTokers and social media people? Those pages were probably blank as out on a bunch of binders full of blank papers. Pam Bondi appeared on conservative media multiple times from 2019 to 2021. She insisted that the American public would eventually find out about the list. They would eventually see the list and all of the influential figures that were linked to Epstein. What they assumed was that it was going to be full of Democrats. And her words carried weight. They were assuming that it was going to be full of Democrats because the Republican Party puts themselves out as the American Party, the conservative right, the Baptist evangelicals. We are the Bible thumpers, and we want to bring Christian values back to America. Those are the people whose names are crippling that list. I'm sure of it, because they are afraid to release it. Whose names are there? Which of you Republican senators and congressmen are on that list? Which of you Democratic senators and congressmen are on that list? Marjorie Taylor Greene already said that she wanted to tell, if they didn't do what she wanted her to do, she was going to release the names on the slush fund, on the Republican slush fund that pays to keep people silent for all the sexual things that Republicans have done. Matt Gaetz is probably on that list. Allegedly. Could be. Could be. We don't know. Kash Patel. Wait a minute, let me back up just a minute, because I need to talk about Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is one of the most powerful women in the United States. She is the Attorney General of the United States of America. When she was in her confirmation hearing, she said, I am going to follow the law. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Hang them from a telephone wire. Y'all remember that? We used to say that when we were in elementary school. Liar, liar, pants on fire, hang them from a telephone. Hang your pants, Pam. Take them high heels and chuck them in some water. Get that bleach blonde, get that box of that Clairol box and bleach their hair some more. Stop lying to these people. You are a liar and you're lying. Because the narrative that you all painted gave millions of Americans, especially those, again, who are very loyal to Trump, a sense that ultimate justice was imminent. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And yet, as of mid-2025, today, the Justice Department has confirmed there is no client list. That's what they're telling us. The government claimed that releasing those files, those so-called remaining sealed records, is going to further traumatize victims or reveal private details. It should have been about the victims all along. What this is about exploitation of young girls. This is about the exploitation of females, of young girls, underage females, and the powers that use them, abuse them, and pass them around. That's what this should be about completely. We shouldn't care whose names are on the list. We should care about the victims, because a person doesn't know they're manipulated at that age. They don't understand. They don't have the capacity to understand. We don't even know some of the youngest ages of those young girls that were being used by these people. This is not just about who was on the list and who was doing it. Most importantly, it is about the young girls who were exploited. It shows you the depth and the depravity of how money and power can overrule everything. And how Pam Bondi stated that she was going to follow the law, and she didn't. And how Kash Patel screamed and loud, and they screamed and they screamed and they screamed and they talked and they talked, and they said that there was a list. Pam Bondi appeared on conservative media multiple times, time after time after time. She insisted that the American public was going to eventually see the list. It had all the names of these influential figures that were linked to Epstein. Her words carried weight because she is an attorney general. Her words carry weight. She also carried weight as a trusted insider and legal authority. Do you not think that Trump knew all the time that his name was on that list? And as Kash Patel hinted darkly at classified intelligence and secret documents, he said that on several talk shows before he became the FBI, the director of the FBI. He implicated elites. He suggested that what Epstein knew threatened the highest echelons of power around the world. And guess what? It probably does. But they will not release it. The investigation dragged on, and the DOJ statements grew definitive. Both figures quietly shifted their tones. Both she and he. Both she and he. They stopped talking about it. They quieted it down. They quieted down. They stopped talking. They stopped talking. They shifted their tone on it. Pam Bondi has since downplayed earlier claims. You've seen her on television. She's telling political allies there's no list the public will ever see because there's nothing there that wasn't already exposed in prior cases. Then why, ma'am, if there's no list that probably, why were you saying that? It's on my desk. It's coming. It's coming. It's on my desk. Kash Patel was once a fierce public advocate for disclosure, fiercely advocating for disclosure. He has gone silent on the matter. He declines to appear on recent panels where Epstein questions were expected. I'm going to tell you why, because Trump told them, if you expose this and if you tell people, I'm going to chop your head off. He has the power to do it. I think that the only person in the United States that is not scared, in power that is not afraid of Trump, is Elon Musk, because Elon has more money than Trump. With money comes power. With money comes power. Trump has the power to silence people, to make them shut up and disappear, allegedly. Ghislaine Maxwell, bless her heart, she's the ghost behind the bars. That's what we're going to call her. We're going to call her the ghost. We're going to call Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the ghost behind the bars. She sits in prison. She's serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking and related crimes. Now, her conviction confirmed that she was actively recruited and she actively recruited and groomed underage girls for Epstein's abuse. But it also raises another question. If there are no powerful co-conspirators, if no powerful co-conspirators exist, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for facilitating connections between men who supposedly don't exist? That's a question that everybody should be asking. If there is no list, why is Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in prison for facilitating connections to men who supposedly don't exist? There are people who are survivors and advocates, and this contradiction only deepens the sense that some truth has to be remaining hidden. There is a 15-year relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. 15 years. Donald Trump's relationship with Epstein is documented, and it is very controversial. Very controversial. In the early 2000s, Trump described Epstein as terrific. The videos are online, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to take my word for it. It is there. You can Google it. You can YouTube it. He said the man is terrific. He's a man who likes beautiful women just as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. We just didn't know how young. I would have thought that maybe he was talking about women in their 20s, because Trump likes women age out for Trump. Once you hit 30, you an old goose. The only reason Melania is holding on now at this stage in her life is because he has to keep her around since he wanted to be the president. Trust me, he would have got rid of her a long time ago because she is older. He likes young women. He don't like Melania. That's a facade. He wants to know. He went from, if you look at it, he went from Ivanka to Marla Maples. Marla Maples was younger. When Marla Maples started getting around the age of what Melania is now, he started searching for another one. He got Melania while he was with Marla. Trump and Epstein attended a whole lot of parties in West Palm Beach and in New York. And videos exist of them together, dancing at Mar-a-Lago. That was in 1992. Together. And a lot of evidence suggests that Trump used Epstein's private jet during the 2016 election. He used Epstein's private jet during the 2016 election, although the details remain a little murky. Evidence is saying that he used Epstein's jet. That's not just, I don't know you. I don't care how much money you have. You're not going to just let somebody borrow your private jet that you are not close with. I wouldn't. That would be foolish. Now, while Trump insists he never liked Epstein, and he claims to have severed ties with Epstein years before his arrest, to me, that distancing looks strategic rather than sincere. Now let's talk about this man's death. Epstein's death, his suicide. Was it death? Was it a suicide or was it silencing? What did he excuse me, did he delete himself or was he silenced? That's a big question. Currently, the official story remains that Jeffrey put a rope around his neck. And, you know, I guess the chair was kicked from under him and he was found dangling from a jail cell in August of 2019 in Manhattan. But there's a lot of deeply suspicious details here. Remember the surveillance, right? The surveillance cameras outside of Epstein's cell, they malfunctioned the night that he died. And they're trying to say that 2 guards fell asleep or they either falsified records during crucial hours. Nobody can make me think anything different. It's just little old Marcus. Because the autopsy found neck fractures that are more typical of homicide by strangulation. That was an independent examiner that was hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother, because Jeffrey Epstein's brother did not buy that Jeffrey hung himself. Why would Jeffrey do that? Jeffrey could have stayed in prison and sat there and waited on his trial, just like Bill Cosby, just like Sean Diddy Combs, just like Weinstein. All these men are upper echelon people who bid their time waiting. It's bizarre. It's extremely bizarre. And the time lapse video that was released later on, it only heightened the skepticism behind it. I, for one, do not believe that the man deceased himself. It is very strange. It is extremely strange. And Pam Bondi is saying, in her words, oh, that happens all the time at that jail. That happens all the time at a jail? Time lapse? On a live camera? And we're going to get that footage for you. Now, wait a minute. Manhattan, in the jail cell where this man said this highly secure place, the time lapse in the camera, in the jail cell, and that happens all the time. And they're just not figuring this out because this has come to play because of Jeffrey Epstein. That is such a lie. That is a lie. I don't believe that. I don't believe. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I grew up in a house where my father dug at the truths. Where did you get that from? My friend gave it to me. What friend? So-and-so. What's his name? His name is where he live. Where does he live? Let's go to his house right now. Don't lie. Listen, for a whole lot of people in the United States, the notion that Jeffrey Epstein, the man who knew too much about too many powerful people, simply deceased himself, for me, it remains impossible to accept. It remains impossible. I'm just as frustrated and feel betrayed just like everyone else. I'm frustrated and betrayed. I feel frustrated and I feel betrayed just like everyone else. All across the political spectrum, Americans feel betrayed. Y'all saw Alex Jones on social media crying or pretending like he was crying or trying to cry. I was like, look at this fool here. Conservative influences, including prominent MAGA voices, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon. The list goes on and on and on. These people, Joe Rogan, these people who really felt like Trump is going to come in and change everything. He's going to drain the swamp. They know that the Trump administration is hiding these Epstein-related secrets despite years of promises. And then when he gets questioned about it, are we still talking about Jeff Epstein, this man? We're still talking about, yeah, we're talking about because you talked about him. We're talking about him, Trump, because you talked about him. You raised the name. A lot of us didn't even know who the man was. I didn't. I had never heard of Jeffrey Epstein. I'm sure there are quite a few billionaires, quite many millionaires that I've never heard of before, outside of the ones who put themselves out there in the public view and social media and television and all these kind of things. There are a lot of millionaires who you will never know they are because they don't put themselves out there like that. But all of these conservative influencers, all of these prominent MAGA voices, they are accusing the Trump administration of hiding Epstein's his secrets. And Democrats and independents, which I am an independent, we demand transparency. I don't care who's on that list. The Democrats and the independents are demanding transparency. They are viewing Epstein's world as a bipartisan cesspool. So for all you people out there who say, oh, the Democrats are a lot of, no, they want to know. They want to know. They've been wanting, since you brought it up and you brought it out there, they want to know who's on the list too. It's going to implicate elites from every corner of society, not just Republican elites, not just MAGA elites, not just far-right elites, but it's going to affect Democrat elites, left elites, and far-left elites, I'm sorry, and independents. Everybody can join the party. No one is free of this thing. Every corner of society. Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, they reverse this thing so quick. It only makes it worse in the public's eye, the cynicism and the criticism, because we once believed that Trump would so-called, he's been saying this since 2016, I'm going to drain the swamp. Here he is. He's the biggest crocodile in the swamp. He got this crocodile, this alligator, and this alligator. Now, this alligator can lay eggs. Female alligators lay eggs. What do I mean? What are you talking about? You can influence others in your party to get along with you and to think and to do the very same thing that you do. But these are the two who are the most prevalent because they are supposed to be the arm of justice. She's supposed to be the arm of justice. He's supposed to be the arm of justice. These are the arms of justice for the American people. How are they the arms of justice for the American people? How? Tell me that. How are they the arms of justice for the American people? We need to know. And we don't know that. We don't know what they're doing. We have no idea what they're doing. We have no clue. So we're left to try to figure this out on our own. And again, during Donald Trump's presidency, what did he do? He said that he was going to expose it. And he didn't. And he hasn't. He has actually shushed the mouths of the people. He has shushed their mouths. He has shut them up, made them be quiet. That's what he has done. He has hushed them up. He has made them be quiet. And he has made sure that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel were not going to say a word. That's what he did. That's what he did, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he did. He made sure that they weren't going to say anything. And they haven't. They haven't. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to do? Moving forward, how are we going to make this thing work? What is our game plan? The American people need two. need to demand, because the emotional weight that's on the survivors for Jeffrey Epstein's victims, there's an emotional weight that is on these ladies, these young girls who were abused by these powerful men. Women who testified in Maxwell's trial spoke of years of sexual abuse, manipulation, and threats. And there are rumors of hidden lists. We want to see the list. We want to know where it is. We want to see it. Will we ever see this list? I don't know that we will ever see a list. We don't know that we will ever see a list. And the survivors, you know what they do? They feel used. They feel like they were pawns in a political game rather than seen as human beings that deserve justice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all about justice for these young ladies, justice for these victims of abuse. How would you feel if your daughter, your niece, your cousin, your sister was a part of this? I saw a post where a man said that if his daughter had been sexually abused or assaulted by the president, because he's a Christian, he would forgive. Are you only saying that because you're a sycophant? Or do you really actually, are you really actually saying to us that you have the love of Christ that you, I am a Christian. I just don't know that that would be something that I could do so easily. I need the Lord to help me a little bit more. Americans, are we going to just sit down and take this? We deserve transparency, not redacted documents, not shifting stories, not Pam Bondi and Cash Patel once promised revelations. Now they are all offering silence. And the question that is haunting we, the American people, is this: why? Until the real story is told, unvarnished and complete, we are going to remain suspicious. What I have come to understand is this: that justice bends for the powerful, and the truth bends for the powerful, just like Epstein himself. But the truth may end up deceased in the cell, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Let's hope not. Let's hope that at one point or another, we get to the bottom of this. See y'all the next time.